everybody has their different reasons for being quote unquote healthier. Honestly, I'm starting to lose attraction to the word healthiness because healthy tends to mean, for the most people, weight control and longevity of life. And my quote unquote pursuit of healthiness has nothing to do with, very little to do with weight control and nothing to do with longevity of life. I'm not concerned with how long I'm going to live. I am concerned with my day-to-day, moment-to-moment quality of life. But more importantly, I am someone highly susceptible to dissatisfaction, to unhappiness. Now, I might sound like a broken record when talking about this, but I think that that is the mental health element of this is super important. And mental health tends to only be highlighted in the extremes. And I think, though, that it's similar to when people only care about healthiness or only think healthiness has to do with just your weight. It's like, you're getting the wrong idea. There's an energy involved. There is an energy that you get. And energy is one of the ingredients, I feel, to happiness, which is why when I talk about happiness and the four pillars of happiness, all those four pillars have to do with energy. Adequate sleep, adequate nourishment, adequate physical activity, and healthy conversations. Each one of those gives an energy, and you get an energy from each one of those, but you also have to give your energy to each one. Even sleep. I had to work on destigmatizing sleep. I had demonized sleep for a long period of time, and I wasn't, for various reasons, putting conscious effort into lying down and just letting myself be bored at night and just sleeping and just letting my body be still. I always end up saying way more than I'd like, but my point about this is that you have to define things. Unfortunately, you have to define stuff for you. You can let this world tell you what health means, like, oh yeah, calories, weight, and all this stuff. But when you pay close attention, you'll see that this thing you call happiness is very dependent, not solely dependent, but it's very dependent upon factors that involve objectivity, such as your sleep, such as your nourishment, such as your physical activity, such as the way you speak to each other. We're wired in a particular way, despite the fact we have a lot of malleability and a lot of room to be whoever we want to be, quote unquote. You're still this thing called a Homo sapien. You're still a human, and humans are still products of nature, and any product of nature is beholden to the laws of physics, and it's all physics ultimately. Not to take away any of the romance, any of the spiritual, but don't forget about the physics of it all. Don't think that you are, but in a way that's freeing, because a lot of people feel like it's their fate to be overweight. It's their fate. Even though, by the way, a lot of people are definitely susceptible to weight gain, and it's harder for them to lose weight, I would argue, for various reasons. But also, is the very freeing thing about this all being a matter of physics is that there's things that you can do at a factual level, whether or not you believe it'll help you. So sometimes it's also interesting because belief is involved in this, but also there's degrees of faith that the objective is real and the objective will work for you. But there's so many examples around us that the objective works. It's just that we're very self-deprecating. We're very, oh man, there's so much to say. Good Lord. I'm about to go on this run. Every sentence brings me to a whole nother topic. I care about my quality of life. And I have And I expect or anticipate, or I wouldn't be surprised if tragedy strikes my own life and then I have an untimely passing for some reason, because there's so much evidence that I'm just as much a candidate for tragedy as anybody else. So fuck trying to live for a long time. But if look, just like you invest in your security materially for your home, you invest in your security with by making fucking literal investments. I'm investing in my physicality because my richness comes from the internal. The internal is where it's always come from. And I'm not saying that makes me better or worse than the average person. I'm just saying that's, in a lot of ways, it has hurt me in this world. But my point is that the internal is where everything comes. Like, I don't necessarily need to be around people. Richness comes from inside of me, first and foremost. And to activate that, to make sure that that is what it can possibly be. Like, I'm greedy when it comes to it, quite frankly. But not only that, I want the highest kind of functionality. I want the greatest kind of experiences. I want things as well, but the things that I want are intangible, immaterial. But it requires me, one of the inconvenient truths about gaining this richness is putting myself in uncomfortable positions that are just shy of painful, and then letting my body recuperate, and then reaping the reward of that. Okay. Peace and blessings.